Joining me right now is David DeGuzman.
And what's very interesting is that you're seeing a lot of athletes skip the opening ceremony.
What kind of opportunity does the United States have to be on this world stage, to forward this sport, to take some steps toward making this sport even better than it was before?
All we can do is put a great product out there.
Jermaine, you keep sending me to these classics with North Carolina. Last time I was here was in 2019, the 6 overtime game, and tonight definitely had those feels and emotions. Yeah, well, the headline in this morning's paper reads, "Devastating." That's referring to the positive test on the Duke basketball program that ended the Blue Devils season. But now you can apply this headline to UVA, who's going through the same exact thing. Another Commonwealth clash here in Charlottesville ends with fans storming the field, but this time, unlike in 2019, it was Hokie fans invading the home turf. Virginia baseball in another winner-go-home situation, this time a trip to Omaha on the line. The seniors saying that the fact that they even got back within 2 goals just proves that they belonged in this national championship game. Well, nearly 3.5 hours after the first swimmer entered Carvin's Cove, the bulk of the riders are starting to arrive at River's Edge Park. Cotter is ready to show the world a story that's meant the world to him and Penn State lacrosse.
Len Cathlin, it was nearly 5 years ago when Austin Cannon was in his dorm room at Virginia Tech and attempted suicide. He was a freshman at the time and a walk-on, trying to prove himself on the football team when it felt like the world around him came crashing down.
The social aspect was lacking. You know, I had great grandmother pass away, loved one gone, dog gone, you know, relationship gone. And then, like, shortly thereafter, you know, I found out that my dad, who's my right-hand man, you know, he had kidney cancer.
Amid everything happening in Austin's life in 2016, it was an incident at practice that had him questioning whether life was worth living.
A teammate comes behind me and just, you know, is just chasing the ball, you know, and his foot just kicks me right in the head. And I mean, just knocks me completely silly. I mean, it was to the point where, you know, I was hearing music and there was no music being played.
Austin was sent to his dorm room and feared his football career was over because of a concussion.
You know, I'm like, oh, well, then this totally just ruined my chances and, you know, it's all over. And so I had a pocket knife and it was partially, you know, serrated, and I took it to my right thigh, trying to hit that artery in the thigh. And thank goodness I missed.
I guess you could probably say that Justin Fuente literally saved your life.
You know, paramedics were checking me out, looking at the wound and all that stuff. And I said, hey, can I please see Coach Fuente? And so they brought him over to me and he crouched down and he was holding my hand. And, you know, and I never really cried in front of a coach like I did with Coach Fuente. And, you know, I said, I'm sorry. You know, he's like, there's no need to apologize. You know, I'm right here with you. We're going to get you help and we're going to get through this together.
From that dark day, Austin got help and now encourages other student athletes who are struggling to do the same and speak up.
Yes, everybody goes through something. If you think that you're the only one that is suffering in this world, you are absolutely wrong. Like, there is a way out, and you might be in a dark place. And, you know, I have a light. Grab my hand and I will help you get out, because I've been there. I still have the scar from that day. And, you know, it's a reminder of where I once was, and knowing that was the darkest time in my life. And, you know, I'm very blessed, very fortunate to have come out of that dark place and, you know, be able to, you know, share my story and shine the light on mental health.
If you or someone you know is in crisis, you can call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. That number is at the bottom of your screen, 1-800-273-8255. You can watch more of my conversation with Austin and his efforts to raise mental health awareness, including his Speak Up initiative that's available right now over on WFXRTV.com.
A couple of weeks ago, we told you about Blacksburg native Ian Ho, who will swim in the 50-meter freestyle at the Olympics for Team Hong Kong. His journey to becoming an Olympian took many twists and turns, but his parents watching it unfold from thousands of miles away.
Just talking about all the things that have happened in this past year and a half are absolutely absurd.
When Ian Ho qualified for the Tokyo Olympics last month in Hong Kong, his parents were watching from the other side of the world in Blacksburg.
I didn't sleep. I was just waiting for 5 o'clock so that I can get up and turn on my phone.
The accomplishment was a culmination of a journey that once seemed out of reach when Ian learned in January of 2020 that he wasn't even eligible to compete for Hong Kong.
They have a residency rule that they told me about last minute, and so I wouldn't have been able to go. I found out that I actually can't represent Hong Kong because I hadn't lived in Hong Kong for 1 year.
But Ian still had plans to swim in international meets, including one in April of 2020. Till his plans were turned upside down because of COVID-19.
As the pandemic progresses, we listen to the news, Hong Kong news, and realize Hong Kong is planning on closing their border March 19. He still need to go to Hong Kong to race. A few hours time, bought a ticket. I say, we're going in a few hours. And he landed in Hong Kong a few hours before the borders closed.
A few hours?
A few hours, yeah.
The meet Ian planned to swim in was canceled, and the Olympics were postponed to 2021, which became a silver lining as the extra time gave Ian a chance to fulfill his residency requirement.
We were on the phone with Ian. He said, my coach asked me to stay for a whole year. Then we just asked him, what will hold you back here? Are you really able to stay in Hong Kong?
But with training facilities closed in the United States, Ian had no choice.
With the pandemic happening, I actually got trapped here. And so ended up forming a nice group of training partners out here in the same situation as me, being able to come back to Hong Kong to train in like a closed environment.
Yeah, we are very supportive of his decision because we think it's just 1 year. I mean, you probably won't have a chance like this in your lifetime.
Hong Kong became Ian's home away from home, but with months to go until the Summer Olympics, another setback.
I had a health checkup in February where they told me I had to get heart surgery before they would allow me to swim.
Ian had an irregular heartbeat that needed to be addressed, the procedure putting another pause in his preparations.
But in order to make sure I wouldn't die, they had to do surgery, and so that happened in February.
Those 3 weeks was stressful. We were on the phone with him a lot. It was also during lockdown, so it was to me it was a mental hurdle. He has to do this procedure, or else we cannot let him swim anymore. So it just came down to that.
Ian did return to the pool, and 5 months later, he's Tokyo bound, a journey he and his parents have endured together on different continents.
I know this is a huge accomplishment and wonderful news, but my son is so far away, it's like the other side of the world. So it feels a little strange also.
It's been okay. Not to say that I don't miss them or don't wish they could be here with me. They've honestly been so great, and they've supported me through this entire thing.
I'm happy. I'm super happy for him. I can't wait to see him.
We can't wait to see him as well. Ian Ho will compete in the preliminary heats of the 50-meter freestyle on Friday, July 30th in Tokyo. Then his parents, of course, looking forward to having him home for the first time since March of 2020. Not only will he reunite with family, he still has a graduate degree to complete at Virginia Tech.
Now, David DeGuzman with WFXR Sports.
I'm just curious, how do you want to look on offense? How do you want to look on defense in terms of styles and systems? What is your plan of attack there?
I want to score and I want to stop people. All right.
Tony Elliott giving a simplified explanation on what fans should expect on the field. Now, today's press conference brings to an end a wild few weeks here in the Commonwealth as both Virginia Tech and UVA were searching for new head coaches. And Tony Elliott today was asked how he would approach the rivalry that is the Commonwealth Clash as both schools begin new eras.
You know, we want to win the Commonwealth year in and year out. That's going to be a goal and essentially a season of itself. Now, as we approach the game, every game that we approach is going to be the biggest game on the schedule because that's the game that we're playing. So we won't make the game itself bigger than it needs to be, but everybody will understand when we get to that week of the game, what's on the line and what's at stake. That's going to be our approach.
Now, one person who is glad the search is over is Athletic Director Carla Williams, who made the hire just 8 days after Bronco Mendenhall announced his resignation. Now, remember, early on, signs pointed towards Penn State co-defensive coordinator Anthony Poindexter, who is also an alum of UVA, but those talks with him fell through. Then the attention shifted toward Tony Elliott, who flew here with his family on Wednesday, flew back to South Carolina before finally accepting the job on Friday. Here's how Carla Williams approached the search.
And Coach Elliott has been on everyone's list for a number of years, and so the opportunity to talk with him was valuable. And we had one conversation by phone, and then we had multiple conversations, and we were able to meet in person. And just every time we spoke and every time that I saw him speak, became more convinced that he was the right person for UVA. So there was a lot of craziness in our industry the last few weeks. We tried to stay above the fray and stay out of it and just keep our head down, and we knew what we needed, and we knew that Coach Elliott would be a great fit for us here at UVA.
Tony Elliott making an impression on the players as well. There was a lot of uncertainty this past week with the Cavaliers as they waited for the selection of a new head coach. But once the hire was made, it didn't take a lot of convincing for one of the top quarterbacks in the country to stay put in Charlottesville. Here's reaction now from Brendan Armstrong.
We knew the search was on for a new coach. Everyone was kind of excited to see who that was, and there was a bunch of options. So yeah, but with Coach Elliott now, we're excited that's finally instilled. You know, we've been hanging, just not knowing what was going to be solid and what wasn't going to be solid. So with him here now, we know we have him, and you know we trust him and what he wants to do with the rest of the program. Very humble. He knows he knows how to overcome obstacles. You know, he told us his his story, his background, and I respect that. I just know he likes to work hard, and I connect with that too. But yeah, I just think he's is a good dude overall, and he just knows how to win.
So a vote of confidence from Brendan Armstrong, who says he has no plans to transfer from UVA. He says he's either going to stay put here or move on to the NFL. So that's quite the endorsement from a quarterback who is averaging over 400 yards a game. And Kathleen, that's also great news that adds hope and excitement to the future of this program as we wrap up our coverage here from Charlottesville.
A lot of people are really excited about the new head football coach and where the program is going. Disappointed that Bronco's leaving, but high hopes for the future of UVA football.
One door closes, another one opens. We'll see what happens.
Yes. Thank you, David.